The first time I saw her, she was sitting on the edge of my cot, wearing nothing but confusion and a thin pink slip that definitely wasn't standard issue for any species I'd ever treated. I dragged her in from the outer corridor after my proximity sensors picked up a life sign flickering like a dying spark. She looked fragile, glowing skin, faint pulse, breathing shallow, all the textbook signs of someone in need of emergency healing. So naturally, I did what any responsible human stationed alone in a half-wrecked medical pod orbiting a forgotten moon would do. I panicked. "Hey, hey! Don't move," I said, tripping over my own first aid kit as I scrambled toward her. "You've probably got plasma shock or dehydration or, whatever your species gets when you nearly die in a vacuum." She just blinked up at me, wide-eyed and unbothered, like I was the weird one for wearing pants. "I'm fine," she murmured, voice calm but dripping with some kind of sultry lilt that made my brain misfire. "You're the one shaking." I froze mid-step. "What? No, I'm just cold." "Inside a temperature-controlled pod?" Okay, she had me there. I'll admit something. I hadn't spoken to anyone in 6 lunar cycles. The station's AI had gone full SAS mode weeks ago, refusing to talk to me unless I rebooted her ethical core. So yeah, maybe I was desperate for conversation. But this wasn't what I expected to find. A girl who looked like a dream someone forgot to wake up from, sitting on my bed like she owned it. Her name, I'd later learn, was Lyra. At the time, though, I just called her the patient. I knelt beside her, scanning her vitals. "Your heart rate's high, and your body temperature's off the charts. Are you sure you're not injured?" She tilted her head, blonde strands falling over her shoulders in slow motion, as if she'd practiced that move for effect. "Not injured. Just overheated from what?" Her lips curved, the kind of smile that could be registered as a Class 4 hazard under human-alien relations. "From landing in the wrong man's bed, maybe?" My scanner beeped an error. I was 99% sure it wasn't the device malfunctioning. The pod was small, smaller than it looked from outside. Every corner was filled with relics of my boredom, half-assembled gadgets, old Earth posters, a flickering lamp I'd repaired with alien gum, and my single comfort item, the bed, now occupied by the universe's most confusing patient. "I should probably give you a thermal blanket," I muttered, fumbling for something to cover her. "Why?" she asked innocently, crossing one leg over the other. "You look warm enough for both of us." There it was, the first real hint of danger, not from plasma burns or radiation exposure, but from the kind of chemistry that could cause spontaneous combustion. Still, I wrapped her in a blanket, keeping my eyes strictly professional. "You're safe here. This is a medical unit, not whatever you think it is." "Oh, I know what this is," she said softly. "A human alone on a forgotten station, and a woman suddenly appears in his quarters. It's either a rescue or a setup. Or a misunderstanding," I shot back. "Or destiny," she whispered. My internal systems nearly rebooted. For the next hour, I tried to keep things clinical. She didn't make it easy. Every question I asked was met with answers that sounded like they belonged in a flirtation simulator. "What's your species?" I asked. She smiled. "Guess. Are you in pain?" "Only when you stop talking." "What's your mission?" "To see how long you can resist looking at me." At one point, I was convinced she might actually be a hallucination brought on by oxygen deprivation. But the way she kept touching random tools on my desk and asking if they were toys was far too specific for my imagination. Eventually, I decided to do a basic scan using the medfield. A soft glow enveloped her body, mapping her biological structure. The result appeared on my screen and made me blink. "Okay, that can't be right." "What does it say?" she asked, her voice suddenly curious. "It says your vitals are perfect. Like better than perfect. Your cells are regenerating at a rate I've never seen before. You're not sick at all." "I told you," she said, leaning closer. "I don't need healing." "Then why were you collapsed in the corridor?" Her eyes glittered like starlight. "Maybe I wanted to see what kind of human would try to fix me." I swear the air pressure in the room dropped. Or maybe it was just my sanity levels doing a nosedive. Okay, I said, raising my hands defensively. Let's slow down. I just saved your life, probably. The least you could do is explain how you got here before my brain short circuits. She looked around the pod, expression turning wistful. I was escaping. From who? Not who. What now? She had my full attention. Something big, she continued. Something that thinks it owns me. I needed somewhere to hide. Somewhere warm. Somewhere with... She glanced at the bed. Comfort. Of course. Out of all the abandoned stations in this sector, the universe decided to drop a mysterious, beautiful alien fugitive right into my sleeping quarters. Because apparently, fate has a sense of humor. Still, something about her story didn't line up. I checked the radar earlier. No ships, no debris, no escape pods. She hadn't arrived by any normal means. So how did you get in? I asked, narrowing my eyes. Her response? A grin. You wouldn't believe me. Try me. She looked at the window, where distant stars blinked beyond the metal curve of the hull. I phased through the outer wall. I almost choked on my own breath. You what? Phased, she repeated casually. You know, slipped through matter. Like light through glass, I stared at her. That's impossible. Impossible for humans, she corrected, her tone teasing again. Not for me. I looked around the pod, the sealed hatch, the reinforced walls, and realized she wasn't joking. No wonder the scanners had nearly fried trying to analyze her. And suddenly the whole needing healing thing started to feel like a cosmic prank. Lyra watched me as I paced, trying to process everything. So, I said finally, you can walk through walls, but you decided to faint in my hallway? She shrugged, smiling. I wanted to see if you'd catch me. You risked your life just to, what? Test my reflexes? No, she said softly. To test your heart. Yeah, that line should have sounded cheesy. Instead, it hit like a slow burn charge in my chest. For the record, I've repaired alien exosuits mid-battle, treated plasma burns in zero gravity, and negotiated with creatures that use acid as a form of communication. But nothing had prepared me for a woman like her. Later that night, after she'd finally convinced me she wasn't dying, we sat in awkward silence. Me on the chair, her still on the bed, like two mismatched puzzle pieces trying to figure out if they belonged in the same picture. You keep looking at me, she said eventually. I'm making sure you don't spontaneously phase through the floor. She laughed, soft, melodic, and maybe a little too dangerous for my peace of mind. You really don't trust me, do you? I don't trust anyone who can bypass solid steel and make my medical scanner blush. She leaned forward. What if I told you I came here for a reason? I raised an eyebrow. What kind of reason? The kind, she said, smirking, that makes humans very uncomfortable. I gulped. You're going to have to be more specific. She didn't answer, just stood up, walked to the window, and placed her hand on the glass. You think I need healing, she said quietly, but maybe it's you who needs fixing. The words hung between us like static. I wanted to say something clever, something to reassert control of the conversation. But before I could, she turned and smiled. Tomorrow, she said, I'll tell you everything. But for now, she glanced at the bed again. Humans need sleep, right? Yes. Sleep is essential. Good, she said, curling up on the far side of the bed as if it was the most natural thing in the world. Then don't snore too loudly. I blinked. Wait, you're staying there? Unless you'd rather share the chair, she teased. I didn't answer, mostly because my brain had just blue screened. That night, as the hum of the station filled the silence, I sat in my chair pretending not to watch her breathe. Every so often, the faint glow from her skin illuminated the room. Soft, golden, mesmerizing. She wasn't human. She wasn't normal. And if she was telling the truth about phasing through walls, she might not even belong to this dimension. But as I drifted in and out of restless sleep, one thought kept circling my mind. If she didn't need healing, then what exactly did she come here for? When he wakes up, the alien girl is gone, except for a single message scrawled in glowing letters across the metal wall. Don't look for me, human, or you'll find what I was hiding from. When I woke up, the first thing I noticed wasn't the silence. It was the light. Faint golden symbols shimmered across the bulkhead above my bed, glowing softly like some kind of celestial graffiti. Don't look for me, human, or you'll find what I was hiding from. I sat up slowly, blinking the sleep from my eyes. My chair creaked beneath me. My back ached like I'd wrestled a gravbot in my dreams, and my bed was empty. The blanket she'd used was still warm, but she was gone. No sound of footsteps, no open hatch, no energy trace on my scanners. Just that message, written in light that looked suspiciously like her bioradiance. Oh, great, I muttered, rubbing my temples. I bring home an alien supermodel with glow powers and zero boundaries, and she leaves me cosmic breakup poetry on my wall. My AI, LUNA7, decided to chime in for the first time in days. Good morning, Dr. Cade, she said, voice dripping with mechanical smugness. You appear agitated. Was the overnight guest unsatisfactory? I groaned. Don't start. I ran a motion scan at 0300, Luna continued cheerfully. Would you like me to play back the footage of you staring at her for 47 consecutive minutes? Delete that. Too late. I already backed it up to your personal folder titled, Definitely Not Lonely. I swore under my breath. Still, I couldn't ignore the message. Lyra hadn't just left a goodbye note. She'd left a warning. And like an idiot, my first instinct was to do the exact opposite of what she said. I grabbed my sensor glove and opened the pod's airlock monitor. The readout showed no recent depressurization events, meaning she hadn't left through any normal route. Luna, run a sector-wide bioscan, I said. Trace for her energy signature. She glows, so it shouldn't be hard. Scanning? A pause, then, no results. I frowned. That's impossible. Correction, statistically improbable, but not impossible. I hate when you get philosophical. Correction, you hate when women leave you. Luna! Just analyzing behavioral data, doctor. After 15 minutes of frustration, caffeine, and self-loathing, I sat back on the bed and stared at the fading glow of her words. Don't look for me, human. It wasn't just the content. It was the handwriting, if you could call it that. Each letter curved gracefully, almost rhythmic, as if her thoughts had danced directly onto the wall. There was emotion in it. Fear, regret, maybe temptation. And the strangest part, the glow wasn't just fading, it was pulsing, like it was alive. I held my hand close, and the symbols reacted, swirling gently beneath my fingertips. The light reached out, connecting into lines, shapes, a pattern I didn't recognize. Luna, record this, I whispered. Recording. Shall I categorize under unexplained phenomena or doctors' questionable decisions? Both. The pattern solidified into a holographic projection, a faint outline of a star system I'd never seen before. 5 orbiting moons, 1 central planet glowing red. At the center of it all, a pulsing signal. Is that her homeworld? I asked quietly. Analyzing, Luna replied. Cross-referencing with known galactic charts? No match found. The system does not exist within our current records. Of course it doesn't, I sighed, because the one time I meet a woman who might actually like me, she's from a literal uncharted dimension. The day passed in silence. Well, as silent as it could be when you're trapped in a steel cylinder with an AI that thinks sarcasm is a form of therapy. I tried to distract myself, checked oxygen filters, recalibrated the gravity dampeners, fixed the same flickering light for the 10th time. But my brain kept wandering back to Lyra, the way she had smiled, the way she said I needed fixing, the way her presence made the whole pod feel less empty, and of course the way she vanished like a dream with attitude. That night I finally gave in. Luna, I said, play back my memory log from last night. Are you sure, doctor? I detect high emotional instability in your voice pattern. I'm fine. You said that after drinking fermented coolant last month. Just play it. The holographic replay flickered to life. My room, dimly lit, the bed, the soft hum of the reactor. And then her. Lyra sitting on the edge of the bed, watching me sleep. For a few seconds, she just stared, her expression unreadable. Then she reached out, not touching, just hovering her hand inches above my chest. Her glow intensified. "Human hearts," she whispered in the recording. "They're loud, so full of ache and want. I hope mine doesn't start to sound like yours." Then just like that, she vanished, phasing out of sight, leaving only a shimmer of golden dust in the air. I paused the playback, staring at the frozen frame. What the hell did that mean? Was she comparing hearts? Or warning me? Or flirting with me from another dimension? Luna spoke softly this time. "Doctor, that energy signature during her disappearance. I've seen something similar before." My pulse quickened. "Where?" "In the classified database, linked to Project Halo." I frowned. "That old myth? The living light beings that supposedly crashed near Orion Gate?" "They weren't myths," Luna said. "The data suggests they could manipulate reality through frequency resonance. They were thought extinct." I sat back. "So you're saying Lyra is one of them?" "I'm saying," Luna replied, "you just let a potentially omnidimensional being nap in your bed." That night, sleep wasn't an option. I kept hearing her voice, soft, teasing, dangerous, echoing in my head. "You think I need healing, but maybe it's you who needs fixing." Yeah, well, mission accomplished. My brain was broken. I walked to the small mirror near the hygiene unit, stared at my reflection, and muttered, "What kind of idiot falls for an alien who can walk through walls?" The mirror flickered. I froze. A faint shimmer appeared behind me. Light particles swirling like dust motes, slowly coalescing into a familiar silhouette. "Miss me?" I turned, heart slamming against my ribs. She was standing there, as if she'd never left. Same faint glow, same smirk, same infuriating calm. "Lyra," I breathed, you disappeared." "I told you not to look for me," she said, stepping closer, "but you thought about me anyway." "Humans are predictable that way." "Where did you go?" "Nowhere you could follow." "That's not an answer." She smiled faintly. "Neither is your heartbeat right now." I tried to stay logical, to act like the professional medic I was trained to be. But the more she talked, the more logic packed its bags and left. "You left a warning on my wall," I said. "What was it about? Who are you hiding from?" Her expression darkened, the glow around her dimming slightly. "They're called the Harvesters. They hunt beings like me, energy forms that escape containment. If they find me here," she looked around the pod, "you'll be vaporized before you can even say bad idea." "Oh, great. So you didn't just bring mystery and emotional trauma. You brought homicidal space gods." Her lips twitched. "You could say that." She moved closer until the air between us seemed to hum. "But you shouldn't worry. They can't trace me through your systems. I masked your signature." "You hacked my pod?" "More like kissed it." "Excuse me," she smirked. "Energy imprinting. You'd call it affection through frequency resonance." "Sounds romantic." "It is." "If you survive," her tone made it sound like she was half joking, half proposing something dangerous. And I hated how intrigued I was by both options. "Lyra," I said quietly, "why me? You could have phased into any structure, any planet, any—" "Because," she interrupted, stepping close enough that I could feel the warmth of her glow on my chest. "Your heart was loud enough to call me." I blinked. That's not how space works." She tilted her head. "You'd be surprised what love does to physics." "Whoa, whoa, whoa. Who said anything about love?" Her grin widened. "You did. Just now did not. Did too. Did. Okay, maybe." Before I could embarrass myself further, the lights flickered. Luna's voice cut through, urgent for once. "Warning, unidentified energy spike detected. Sector 3 approaching anomaly threshold." Lyra's glow flared, her expression tightening. "They found me." "Who? The Harvesters?" She nodded, already moving toward the window. "You need to shut down the pod's power grid." "Now wait, what happens if I don't?" You'll glow like me, but less attractively. Dark humor in the middle of an invasion. Great timing. She smirked even as panic simmered in her eyes. It's how I cope. I raced to the control panel, punching in manual override codes while she held her hand against the hull, muttering in a language that sounded like music and thunder. Outside, the stars rippled, like reality itself was bending. A beam of black light, yes, that's a thing now apparently, lanced through space searching, hungry. Lyra, what is that? Their scanner, she said. They can detect consciousness. Well, then we're screwed. I have plenty of that. Not for long if you don't shut down your ego and your reactor. I slammed the emergency breaker. The lights died. Silence swallowed us. In the dim glow of her aura, she looked almost ethereal. Equal parts goddess and disaster. Stay still, she whispered. The beam swept over the pod, pausing, searching. The air vibrated like a living thing. Then after a tense few seconds, it passed. Lyra exhaled, visibly relaxing. They missed us. I slumped against the console. So we just hide forever? She shook her head. No, we run. Tomorrow. But tonight, her gaze softened. We rest. You'll need your strength. For what? I asked, though I already knew the answer. The pod drifted in silence, wrapped in the black velvet of space. Every light was off except for the faint shimmer radiating from Lyra's skin. I sat half awake at the console, trying to convince myself I wasn't in over my head. I'd seen strange things in my career, mutant fungi that could sing opera, a diplomat with 6 tongues, but nothing compared to the woman who claimed her heartbeat could bend physics. She stood by the window, staring at the stars as if they were old lovers she didn't want to talk to. Do you ever get tired of being so quiet? I finally asked. She didn't turn. Silence is safer. Sound attracts attention. Then you should stop glowing like a neon apology sign, I said, smirking. She shot me a look over her shoulder. This is my natural state, human. It's not my fault you find it distracting. Oh, I don't find it distracting, I lied. Just hazardous to concentration. Her grin said she didn't believe a word of it. We'd been running power dark for 5 hours. No light, no warmth, no comfort except bad jokes and worse coffee. I handed her a steaming cup from the emergency heater. Here, synth brew. Tastes like regret, but it's all I've got. She took it cautiously, sniffed it, and wrinkled her nose. It smells like burnt metal and hope. Accurate description, I said. Welcome to human cuisine. She took a sip, then made a face that could have melted titanium. You drink this voluntarily? Every morning. Builds character or kills taste buds. Same thing, really. Her laugh filled the small room like sunlight sneaking past curtains. I hadn't realized how much I'd missed that sound. Someone laughing near me, not at me. When she finally sat beside me on the bunk, her glow dimmed to a soft hum, close enough that I could feel warmth radiating off her skin. You risked your life staying here, she said quietly. You didn't have to. Yeah, well, I'm not great at letting people die in my hallway. Her gaze lingered on me. You're not great at letting them go either. I opened my mouth to deflect with a joke, but she'd already looked away. The air between us thickened with something unspoken, a mix of curiosity, guilt, and a tiny spark neither of us wanted to name. So, I said, trying to lighten it, you ever plan to tell me what you really are? Or is the mystery part of the seduction technique? She smiled faintly. Would it change how you look at me? That depends. If you're secretly a floating brain with good lighting, I might need a minute. Her laughter this time was softer. I'm not a brain. I was created, engineered to heal. Wait, I said. So you were built for healing? Yes, she whispered, fingers tracing the blanket, but not the way you think. My kind were made to absorb pain. Emotional, physical, spiritual. We draw it out, store it, dissolve it into energy. Like emotional recycling? She nodded. Exactly. But there's a limit. If we take too much, we change. The pause after that word felt heavy. Change into what? She didn't answer. Instead, she looked at me with that same unreadable expression. You wouldn't want to find out. I leaned back, rubbing my face. So let me guess. The harvesters want your kind because you're basically living batteries? Close, she said. We're walking antidotes. They weaponize what we heal. Lovely. And here I thought dating in space couldn't get more complicated. You call this dating? She teased, one eyebrow raised. I mean, you're sitting on my bed, drinking my coffee, and threatening to destroy me with cosmic radiation. If that's not a first date, I don't know what is. She chuckled, shaking her head. Humans are strange. You have no idea. For a while, we sat in silence again. I watched her reflection in the viewport, golden and ghost-like. She wasn't lying. Every movement carried that strange grace of someone who wasn't fully bound by physics. Finally, she spoke, voice barely audible. When I first saw you, you were repairing a broken drone outside your station. You were humming to yourself. That's why I came. You were spying on me? I was listening, she said. Your frequency was calm, lonely but kind. Great, I muttered. I'm intergalactically lonely. She smiled. It's not a bad thing. Loneliness has a sound, like a heartbeat searching for its echo. I followed it. Her words hit deeper than I wanted them to. I covered it with humor. You could have just knocked on the hatch like a normal energy goddess. Would you have let me in? Probably, I admitted, but I might have pretended it was a hallucination first. She turned toward me again, and for a moment the whole pod seemed to hum with her presence. You joke a lot, she said. Coping mechanism, I replied. If I stop joking, I start screaming. I understand that. Her glow dimmed again. I used to joke too. Before the harvesters took my cluster, I didn't ask what that meant. I didn't need to. The sadness in her tone filled the blanks. I'm sorry, I said. She smiled faintly. You apologize too much. Occupational hazard. Humans think guilt counts as empathy. Maybe it does. The hum of the engine started up again as I slowly reactivated power systems. The pod's lights flickered back to life, painting her in warm gold and cold steel. Power grid stable, Luna announced dryly. Welcome back to Bad Decisions Episode 3. Not now, Luna. Lyra blinked. Your AI talks a lot. She's needy. I can hear you, Luna said. And for the record, I shipped this disaster of a relationship. Mute her, I said quickly. Too late, Luna sang. Recording. Lyra's laugh burst out again. Real, free, brighter than before. She likes me. She likes chaos, I muttered. A quiet settled between us again, softer this time, the kind that didn't need words. She leaned her head against the metal wall, eyes closing briefly. You should rest, I told her. I can't. When I close my eyes, I see the ones I left behind. Then, don't close them, I said. Just stay awake with me a little longer. She looked at me, surprise flickering in her gaze. You'd stay up just to keep me company? I shrugged. I'm used to insomnia. You just make it prettier. Her lips curved into a smile that could have powered the entire station. Careful, human. My kind absorbs energy through emotion. Oh, so you're saying I should stop flirting? Quite the opposite. For the next few minutes, the only sound was the hum of life support in two hearts beating slightly out of sync. Somewhere in the distance, the universe moved on, uncaring, endless, and full of danger. But for that small slice of time, in that lonely pod, it felt like the galaxy had decided to pause. Her glow pulsed faintly against my arm. I told you not to look for me, she whispered. And you did anyway. Yeah, I said softly. And I'm not sorry. She leaned closer. You should be. Why? Because next time they find me, she hesitated. You'll have to choose between saving me or surviving me. Moments later, the sensors blared again. But this time, the energy signature wasn't hers. Something massive had entered orbit, broadcasting a single message across all frequencies. Return the healer, or we take the human instead. The alarm tore through the cabin like a scream. Luna's voice, flat but panicked, echoed through the pod. Unidentified warship approaching. Signature matches Harvester Dreadnought class. The Devourer of Mercy. I blinked at the console. They named it what? Creative irony, Luna replied. They harvest things that heal. Including sarcasm, apparently Lyra was already standing, her glow flaring in gold-white arcs. Her voice trembled, not from fear, but fury. They found us. Can we outrun them? I asked. She shook her head. Not this time. They'll follow my signal anywhere. I'm marked. Great, I muttered. You're basically a walking galactic tracking beacon. Her eyes flashed. You could leave. Jettison the pod, escape in the maintenance capsule. I laughed, hollow but genuine. Yeah, sure. And then what? Write in my captain's log that I abandoned a glowing woman who drinks my coffee and quotes space poetry? Not happening. You don't understand what they'll do to you. Then explain it, I said, because I'm not in the mood to be vaporized without a plot summary. She looked out the viewport, where the massive harvester ship filled the void like a mechanical god. They consume healers like me, she whispered. Break us open, extract the pain we've absorbed, and distill it into energy. Every scream, every sorrow, it becomes their weapon. Lovely, I muttered. You're telling me these bastards literally power their ship with misery? Yes, and you're in range of their tether field. That's horrifyingly poetic, I said. Luna, prep the defense grid. Defense grid? Luna scoffed. You mean the two cannons that can barely dent a shuttle? Sure thing, Captain Doomspiral. Just do it. Lyra stepped forward, her glow intensifying, filling the cockpit with shifting golds and silvers. If they board us, I'll surrender. Like hell you will. It's the only way you survive. Yeah, and that's not a deal I'm making, I snapped. You think I'm gonna let some intergalactic grief vampires turn you into emotional fuel? Not my style. You can't fight them, she said, almost pleading. You're human, fragile, impulsive, too emotional. Exactly, I said, grabbing my rifle. And that's what makes us dangerous. Her lips parted, stunned into silence. You don't understand humans yet, I said, loading a charge cell. We don't run from impossible odds. We make stupid plans and hope luck pities us. Luna chimed in cheerfully. Stupid plan detected. Confirm execution? Confirmed, I said. Lyra's laugh broke the tension, trembling but real. You're insane. Statistically, yeah. Emotionally, absolutely. The ship shuddered as a beam lanced past, grazing our hull. Sparks showered across the console. Shields at 20%, Luna warned. Would now be a good time to panic? Give me full thrust. We're going under their scanning array. Under? Lyra said. You mean toward the debris field? Exactly. That's suicide. Not suicide, I corrected. A high-risk maneuver with a death probability of 86%, Luna supplied helpfully. See? Not 100. The pod plunged into the debris cloud. Metal fragments spun past, relics of old battles, forgotten ships, shattered dreams. The Harvester Dreadnought's searchlight swept across the wreckage, beams slicing like knives through the darkness. Lyra grabbed the console to steady herself, eyes glowing faintly. They'll sense me soon. Then mask your signal, I said. I can't, not without burning out my core. Then do it, I said. Her eyes widened. You don't understand what that means. Maybe not, but I understand this. If they catch us, we both die. If you burn out and live, maybe you get a second chance. You'd sacrifice me for a chance. I looked at her, really looked at her, the way the light danced in her eyes, the trembling of her lips, the defiance in every breath. No, I said softly. I'd fight for you until I can't, but I won't order you to suffer for me. Something changed in her gaze. The glow softened, the fury melted. She whispered, You're unlike any human I've met. Low standards, maybe, I said, trying to grin. High risk, she countered, smiling faintly. Outside, the Harvester ship began firing blind into the debris field, detonations lighting up the void. The pod rattled like a tin can in a hurricane. Lyra's hands glowed brighter now, energy pulsing through her veins like molten light. Hold on, she whispered. To what? Me. Her glow burst into brilliance, flooding the cockpit. Every system flickered, overloaded, then silence. The Dreadnought's scanners went dark. The tether field blinked out. Luna's voice came back, distorted. Signal lost. They think we're destroyed. I blinked through the after image, barely able to see her. She was slumped against the wall, trembling. Lyra! I caught her before she fell. Her skin was burning hot, light fading rapidly. Don't touch me, she whispered. It's too much. Too bad, I said, holding her tighter. You don't get to die glowing in my arms without at least finishing the coffee first. She laughed weakly. You idiot human. Yeah, I said, brushing a strand of light from her face. Certified. Her glow dimmed further, leaving faint streaks of gold on my uniform. They'll come back, she whispered. They always do. Then we'll keep running, I said. You, me, and the sassiest AI in the quadrant. Luna coughed through static. Hey, I resent that. I prefer sarcastically loyal. Lyra smiled faintly, her head resting against my chest. You'd risk the galaxy for me? Not the galaxy, I said. Just the part you're in. She went quiet for a moment, then whispered. I was designed to absorb pain, but you keep giving me something I don't know how to hold. What's that? Hope? I felt her heartbeat slow against mine, her glow pulsing weaker but steadier. Sleep, I murmured. I've got you. Her voice was almost gone. If I dream, promise me something. Anything. Don't let them make you like me. I frowned. What's that supposed to mean? Her eyes fluttered open one last time, gold light flickering like dying starlight. They don't just hunt healers, human. They make them. Before I could answer, she went limp in my arms. Luna's scanners flickered alive again, displaying a final transmission. The Harvester ship had vanished, but not before leaving one chilling message across all frequencies. Phase 1 complete. Human assimilation pending. The story of one reckless human and the alien who dared to feel continues. Will he save her or become what she feared most?